Hi there, my name is Suzie O'Neill and I am the owner of AU Cosmetics, and today I am going to share with you my top 5 beauty tips for mature skin. So for me, number 1 is creating a beautifully healthy and glowing base, and for that you need to make sure that your skincare is in check. I am a big advocate of having a really nice and simple, consistent skincare routine. It makes such a difference to how your makeup sits and lasts throughout the day, and really does give a little bit of extra oomph to the skin. I always say to my clients, you can have the best of ingredients of a makeup product in the world, but if the skin underneath it is not ready for it, you will not get the full benefit of that base. So looking after your skin for me is really important, and just making sure it's really nicely hydrated before you apply your foundation. So for number 2 then is coverage. I like to keep things nice and light. I feel that less is definitely more when it comes to makeup, regardless of your age. For me, like that, a nice light base, it gives the most natural and most healthy look to the skin. It doesn't look caked, and actually less is more is the way to go if you want things to last all day long as well. Sometimes when we overload the skin with product, what can happen is in dry areas, it can patch slightly around the face, or if you have an oilier skin, it'll tend to slide. But when you keep your base coverage really light and only go extra where you need it, like I would say to a lot of people, you put your base on to even everything out on the skin, and then maybe if you have a little bit of extra redness on the cheeks or the nose, just pop a little bit of extra foundation only on those areas, because you don't need it all over. Often there's probably only 5 to 7% of the skin on our face that has blemishes or has discoloration that we want to cover. So only use the extra in those parts, and you'll just find that your skin will look so much fresher. The third tip then would be under eye concealer. So I never put foundation around the eyes. The skin around the eyes is so much thinner and so much more delicate than the rest of the face that we really need something that's hydrating. It's got a light consistency and it's highly pigmented and it's going to brighten. So even the tone of your concealer is going to be different than the tone of your foundation, because we're trying to lift the area out. And also around the eyes tends to be sort of a bluey purple rather than sort of maybe redness that we're trying to cover in the skin. So that sort of peachy undertone of an under eye concealer is really going to lift the area. My biggest tip I can give you as well is when you are applying it, you see this area here where our dark circle finishes. I would start your application here and put a little bit on the inner corner and then blend it up towards underneath the lash line. This will prevent you getting too much product underneath the lash line where you could risk it creasing or caking if you've applied too much, and it'll just lift that whole area, because where we have this little dip here, we want to bring it forward and bring it out, and that little brightening effect on the concealer will do just that for you. My fourth tip then would be to avoid powder if possible. So cream products are always going to make the skin look healthier and more glowy, and as we get older we do tend to have less oils in our skin, and our skin tends to be a little duller on the surface than we would like. So powders can end up making it look even duller or drier, and also if you have fine lines and wrinkles, it can sit and settle into it. Because with powder, I always say to people, a really tiny touch is all you need, but sometimes people can be a little bit heavy-handed, which brings me on to my fifth tip, which is just using a light hand. A light hand with your makeup is going to make all the difference. It really will give you just that really gorgeous smooth effect finish, rather than a heavy patting of makeup onto the skin, which can leave patches. You know, if you're heavy-handed with eyebrow pencil and that, the brows will look false and just kind of drawn on. Whereas we give a little light stroke of a pencil, you're going to get that gorgeous feathery finish on your brows. So a light hand when it comes to the skin and the makeup for me is really important. So I hope you enjoyed those tips of mine, and I will see you soon.